Welcome to a new episode of Dare to Change. My name is Marina, and I'm excited to be your host on this incredible journey of discovery and transformation with 9 Lifeenergies. And today I'm joined by Paolo and Morten, and this is our first episode. This time we are actually sitting in Norway, all of us three. You guys are sitting at Morten's house in the woods and me at my house. So today I would love to talk about your visiting Norway, Paolo, and Morten. I'm excited to hear from you more as well about takeouts from Mosjøen. So before we dive in, I would like to give you opportunity to introduce yourself. A lot of people know about you, but I believe and I know that it will be a new listeners of this podcast. So you're welcome. Introduce yourself.
My turn. I am Paolo Scoglio. Professionally, I'm Paul, but for over 20 years, I've been Paolo. And Morten has known me for Paolo that long. I am psychotherapist, relationship coach, and 9 Lifeenergies. What would you call me? I'm affiliated with 9 Lifeenergies.
Yes, you are, and you are co-leader with me.
Yes. We co-lead. We collaborate very well. We write together. We talk together a couple times a week at least. Sometimes more. Sometimes for hours. So we're very good friends. We're high five.
High five.
And so I should tell you, you want to know about me. I live in Beverly, Massachusetts. I have 2 female black cats. I have 2 granddaughters that are 3 and 2, and I have 1 daughter that's 35. And
she's amazing.
And she's amazing.
She's a life energy before.
She was a little girl, and now she is a professor in a university. Go figure.
Oh, go figure.
How can that happen? And and I just feel like I'm the same person, but when I look in the mirror, I say,
I'm going to jump in here because it's morning. It's
early
early in the morning, and he has been here for 2 weeks. Paolo, very good friend. We met each other in Quebec 21, 22 years ago, and we started to create a relationship through our work in USA, or I will say school, because it was a school after a while, which we were a part of that creation. And we worked together for many years. We were in the same class as, I call it class, as Susan, our colleague, which is a person who's running together with her husband, Martin Fisher, Body of 9. And we have been together there in Montana. They have moved from there, but today we are collaborating a lot together, me and Paolo. And Paolo is he's around. He's having a wonderful relationship with another group that has been in Susan's teaching and Martin's teaching in their classes for years. And it seems that the work is spreading out in the world. We have been working together. I can't say that.
Collaborating.
Thank you for
You're welcome.
teaching me English. It's great. I'm actually getting a little bit better.
Yep.
Every time you're here, I'm learning so much English.
Your English is very good. I've always thought your English is very good.
Well, in the morning,
most Norwegians speak extremely good English, and I feel like at home. And like I have a family here now. 'Cause I've been here 4 times.
You've been here 4 times and you will get back again. We will
Yeah.
invite you again.
Is it 5?
So Paolo is a very cool person to be with because he is a Life Energy 7.
Mm.
And Life Energy 7 is about so many different things. Is to backtrack what's missing in, like you are baking a cake and you're missing an ingredients in the cake after you're baking, and say, oh, this tastes good, but it feels something is missing. They're really good to go back and backtrack and see, oh, you probably should put more of salt or sugar or yeast or whatever it is. Chocolate, for example, make it more sweet. So that's one of the amazing thing about Paolo. But I want to say something that's your way of helping us to see how, so I'm going to start again. Your way of helping us to see the missing pieces that we need to put into this work. That's you're really good at, as I said.
Well,
like
we did that together.
Yes,
We noticed together, but
yeah, I want to continue to honor you. So, and the thing you're really good at is to put our work into words so it's understandable for the world. Your English, your way of writing. You're born in USA, but your way of using words without using artificial intelligence is just amazing.
Yes.
So I'm so happy about that. And to honor you a little bit more, we did that document we started with this summer.
Yeah, we started it.
We started with the document. We have been talking about it, but that document, those words,
It's growing.
It's growing, and it's like we're planting a new seed into this work. We have a new recipe. We have a better recipe. Ingredients are the same because it's people. It's the same ingredients, but we understand more how to put people together so they can create something that's so tasteful because of that document that we started and you started to write on. I was talking with you a lot,
yeah,
and you were able to put it together. And that document, everybody who's listening now, that document, you will be able to read it when you get in to 9 Life Energies and you sign up for a newsletter, and we are going to send it to you, but you have to do that first. Okay.
Or if you wait, and you shouldn't wait, but if you wait like maybe a couple of years, it will be a book and then you could buy it. But why do that when you can join now?
Yeah, join now and be part of the process of the new creation, because Paolo and I we talked about it yesterday, and we said, what? Yes, of course, it's going to be a new book.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So and then yesterday we also, I mentioned to you when I woke up that I had I wrote this thing for a landing page, but it's not really it's this knowledge is going to change the world, and want people to join us because it's a change for the positive.
Yeah.
It's a change that would reduce trauma.
A change that makes people able to connect with their purpose. Absolutely. Through the work, through knowing who you are, from if you're a 1 or you're a 9, from between 1 and 9, and you are between 1 and 9, you can't be anything else, and you will be only 1. You're born with one energy, and that's who you are. I understand that some people think they are different energies. I appreciate it. It's interesting. And of course, we are all 9, but you have one dominant energy that you're born with, and you will die with that. But maybe you die more happier if you're awakening all 9 of them.
Yes.
Needed to say that.
Yes. And when we were at Mosjøen this past weekend, and we had a call yesterday evening, last night, and everyone was happy. Everyone was excited, intensity, because it was so good. And I imagine that someday all interaction in the world will be at that level, and people won't be overwhelmed because have expanded our capacity, be in connection and have really good, strong connections with lots of people, and feel excited being connected with people and in relationships. It could be amazing.
Yeah, in the end of the call yesterday, I got that feeling again that I have had together with you before, Paolo, in community, and community is the main thing here. We can't in one way we can't survive if we are not in a family or have friends and relationship, and in another way we really don't function in a good way if we don't have a community. And community is so many different things. It could be a community with football players. It could be a community with the chess players. It could be a community with the skiers. And it can be a community with Lifeenergies. When you do your interest it could be anything, but our interest is to understand each other and help people to understand their family members and themselves at a deeper level.
And it could be a community in a school, in a workplace, office location, construction site. If everybody knew everybody's energy, the connection would be better.
Yeah, and it creates a community feeling, because community is actually a feeling of being a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt so good. Even though I was tired, but I felt good all weekend and traveling for hours, because I was traveling with community and it was fun.
Yeah.
And we would talk and we would laugh, and people would talk in Norwegian. I wouldn't understand what was going on, but I was still having fun. So there you go. And I'm learning a little bit Norwegian.
Very cool.
Good.
You're very good at it.
No, I'm not. I can say, yeah, nei.
And Paolo, I feel now that you should introduce Morten, or tell us how is it for you to work with Morten?
Morten is fun to work with. He's inspiring. He's energizing. He understands. He has a vision. He has a vision, and I often let go of the vision. And so one evening, I'll just give you an example. We come back there, and I said, I'm not going to dinner after. I'm tired. I'm not going to dinner. You have to go. Everybody's going to be there. It's the community. Yeah, I'm too tired. I don't want to connect anymore. And yeah, you have to go. So somehow we put on a little music and we danced, and then my energy came back up and we went. But it would have been terrible if I didn't go. So he understands, he's focused. He's the best teacher of this. Better than the teachers that taught us. Better than, I mean, in terms of a teacher in my life, I don't think I ever had a teacher. And did I ever have a teacher that was, when I went to art school, so I went to all through, 12 years in US regular school. And then I went to college, and then I went to art school for 2.5 years. And then I went to graduate school, and then I went to the new equation school. So I've been in schools maybe for 30 years, which is a little bit crazy, but he's the best teacher. There were teachers in art school that were grounded and fun. But there's only one other person, but he was forceful. And Morten is moved completely away from force. So his engagement is just like loving and fascinating. And so he's the best teacher I've ever known. And I have the privilege to work with him. And we went through CTI training, and they were fabulous teachers, and they all went to a year-long program to become good presenters. And only, you know, maybe 5% of the people that went through that would be chosen. So Morten is, you know, they were all really good. They were all really good, but Morten is about that much higher. He's a little bit taller than they are in terms of the capacity and enthusiasm that he can sustain. They changed the world with the coaching program, and they actually launched this Nygård thing into the world because they collaborated with our teachers for a brief period of time and made it known to us. So it's, you know, we have to honor Coaches Training Institute for that, introducing us to new equations, and now we're on our own, surpassing what they could teach.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a mouthful.
Cool. Okay, so Paolo, I remember the first day before we dive into the takeouts from Mosjøen. I also want to share with our listeners that the same day you arrived to Norway, it was the 19th of September, and you just I remember Morten came with you because we had this event, light walk along the Akers River.
Oh, yeah.
Where we had the opportunity to identify many people through the 9 life energies. Tell us about that evening. What was your impressions?
Let me think. Well, we came here and ate food, and it was delicious. He's a fabulous cook.
I know.
So that's we had really good food. And then he said, we're going to do this thing. And even though you've been up for many hours, because I traveled and had 1 hour sleep that evening, because I was on a plane and waiting in airports. We drove there, and I saw the place, and it hadn't started yet. And there was a little tent area. And we're going to do this. And it's like, okay. And then I saw the community of people who were participating in identifying, you know, to identify people as they showed up. And then it started to get busy, and it was exciting, and it was fun, and people were coming along like, what is this? And well, this is about your life energy and effortless strength, and we can show you how. We can show you who you are. And people, after a while, people were in a line.
Yes.
Waiting to be identified, and there was 3, 4 people, 5 people identifying, and then talking and assisting, and it was fun, and there were lots of people. This is an event that you have there on a regular annual basis.
It's every year,
Yeah.
and that's in September, and it's I think it's this year it was about 40,000-50,000 people who walked along the river.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we had a lot to do. We were working with over 100. I think we worked with 120 or 30 people.
Yes.
I thought it was 7,000.
7. No. It's just.
I was just exaggerating.
Yeah.
It seemed like a lot of people.
It is.
But
I think last was 30,000 people along, because it goes from that place and into the city.
Yeah, people were just walking and
And
walking,
it's just
and
a
it's like this
stream
long
of
parade.
people.
Yeah, it was. I got tired and I went into his truck to rest for 5 minutes, and then my energy came back. It was very strange that my energy came back. And I came back to the group, and I had more energy, and I was talking with more people, and then it was over. We went home, and I came back here and went to sleep.
I think it was very cool that Morten took with you at this, so you get to experience also about that evening and could see what about this happening and what we are doing. Like now it's a yearly basic, so it was very fun that you came actually there instead of driving home, and especially that you get more energy of it. So it was really cool. And then the next week, we also had this happening at Morten's house in the woods about trauma and transformation. Again, about 17, 18 people came there. They wanted to listen to you guys. And I think it was a great evening. Morten, maybe you would like to give some comments about it?
Yeah, so this podcast is about the takeouts from the last 2 weeks with the community, with our trip to Mosjøen, with our incredible insight that we get from Paolo, who have been studying now for almost 3 years, the new way of understanding trauma through embodiment. Peter Levine school, and I'm so happy that we have Paolo here to help us to understand how. And I think the main thing, the main takeout from that evening, of course, we did some identification, and I think Paolo had some. He can say something about that, because I have takeouts from Paolo, and Paolo have takeouts from me, and we have takeouts from you, Marina, and from the community. But my takeout from Paolo is that, and this is super interesting, because when you go to a really good body worker, he will work with your whole body to help you. It's like he goes around in your whole body to find out what else is need corrections, or you can call it physical therapy, to heal, and doesn't go directly to the point where it hurts. And Paula was talking about that evening, and I really learned something new, Marina, about, and Paolo, and everybody who's listening, about how that way of trauma work is working in the same way. It's like they're working around, and piece by piece, or we have a step-by-step programs. I love it, because it's the same way as we do it. It's like step by step, circling around the issue or the problem or the trauma or or whatever it is, and
releasing the trauma gradually.
Yeah, so releasing the trauma gradually, changing gradually, step by step, transforming your life gradually. So everything came together for me like so that's why we have changed so much in our teaching, our training. It's less and less force, and it's like we're walking around the things, and we treat each other in the same way, as a circle. It's like we are a big circle of people, and all have some small issues, and I start to relate this to the teaching, and our teaching, and that's my main takeout from that evening. I learned that from Paolo. Amazing. So thank you for investing so much money and time in that work that you have done for 3 years.
I get interested in something, I just want to learn about it. And this is fascinating, training the somatic experiencing trauma training. That evening was, the pizza party, a lot of very friendly, connected people here. Some new people that hadn't been identified. and Morten worked with them, and I got to see how much of a genius Morten is in terms of he understands in his body all 9 life energies and in his mind, so that he has unconscious competency.
Yes.
And some of the things you did, like you participated, there was a 2 that wanted to be a 9 or something like that, and they couldn't do 9, and they were strong in 2, and then he put you in front of the person in the posture of 9. They couldn't do it, and as soon as you made a connection with the person with 2, they could find the effortless strength. But it just demonstrated that they were a 2, because without that 2 connection, they couldn't do 9. I had never seen a teacher, our teachers, Susan and Martin, I'd never seen anybody do that kind of thing so quickly, like without thinking, just Marina, come up here. And then what you were doing with bouncing from one number to another with people, to demonstrate and to give them an experience that would like hit them at a deep level, so that it would be profound. And not that you were trying to do that, the result of the playful work that you were doing, because it was playful,
It was.
profound, created a lot of joy and happiness for them, and interest in 9 life energies. He's great.
I think the perspective I'm coming from, and thank you again for the way of looking at what I'm doing now, which I didn't do years ago. Well, because the mother is a 9, and so my perspective of this teaching is that I really want them to understand each other by example. So my teaching model is that there is no teaching model anymore. I'm just working on myself. So when I work on myself and understand, so what do I want to know? Yeah, I want to know the difference. If I was the kid, not the kid, but she was a grown-up, the 2, and I had a mother who was a 9, I want to understand who is my mother. And if I was the mother, I want to understand who is my kid.
That's the whole thing.
That's the whole
know
thing.
Who we are.
Know who we are. So that's the stake in the ground.
And honor everyone for who they are.
And honor everybody for who they are, and help them to understand each other. So if you come from that perspective, your body will start to do that. Okay, so how can I help them to understand each other?
It was a very good evening.
Yeah.
And the pizza was excellent.
Pizza, it's yeah, we have this truffle pizza in the woods. She's probably going to say something about that in the
Be
end.
sure about that. But
okay, and the day after we went. Yeah, go on, Marina.
yeah, I'm so eager to talk about the Mosjøen, you know. So we went to Mosjøen again. The whole like community from Oslo who could join us. We went to Mosjøen. And the 26th, it was the day after. So we took first the train. We were 8 of us. We took a train to Trondheim, and then first we took a flight to Trondheim, and then we took a train to Mosjøen, and we came in the evening. But again, I remember this, I took some pictures, and I remember it was really fun and a lot of energy to take in a train together as a community. And we had we meeting new people, we are talking, and we are laughing. So we came in the evening, and then the day after, on the Friday, we stayed at Marta's and Turoge's home, which is amazing. They are so their hospitality is just fantastic. So what do you think about Mosjøen and what do you think about these first days? We were at Scoglio where we were training more physically. And yes, we were meeting from other members from the community, from the Mosjøen. Tell us about all of this. I know it's a lot of questions, but
It's a lot of questions. So, I thought definitely the hospitality with Taroga and Mata was amazing. The food there was amazing. It was very comfortable. It was nice to have you there and Morten there. And then we went a walk by the river. Was it a river or is it part of the fjord? Whatever it is, we were by the water in the old town of Mosjøen. And that was lovely. And then we did the evening. Like the event. This is the beginning of the events in Mosjøen, and people were there and people were interested and some people were identified. And did I talk about? No, I didn't talk about, yeah, I probably talked a little bit about trauma then too.
Yeah, you did. You
Yeah.
a little bit about it.
Yeah, I probably each we've had me talk about trauma.
Yeah.
And I'll just briefly say for this, if somebody isn't familiar with this. Lifeenergies gets people in their bodies. And if a person is traumatized, and there's all sorts of trauma, there's little traumas that add up to eventually being big traumas, or there's big traumas that just happen. But they are physical, they're not psychological. And if you get in your body, sometimes you approach something that needs to be released. And the release can be very uncomfortable, or it can be just confusing, like, why am I shaking, or why am I sad, or why do I want to cry now and I don't really understand why. That's a release. And Lifeenergies, sometimes as we train and get people in their bodies, which is very positive, because it helps you understand your purpose and who you are. But you hit a trauma area in your body. And, someone who was told they were too much, might end up being collapsed around their heart. And their posture might be like this, and when their posture should be like this. And you get them in that posture, they start to feel like uncomfortable, like, I'm not supposed to be doing this. There's something wrong with this. And they feel uncomfortable. So the trauma work I'm involved in, if somebody has a big trauma as they're doing Lifeenergies, then they get referrals and need help. But there's the practices that can really help, the Lifeenergy practices. And that was a tangent. Well, let's go back to Mosjøen.
Yeah, but it's a good introduction of what trauma or we have been working on these days in Mosjøen. So the first day on Friday, when we went to Scoglio, Marina and Paolo, we were together with the people. I think it was about 28, 30 people or something.
yeah.
And it was nice. We had a couple who have been driving for 6 hours from the north, and super interesting to meet new people, but like you never seen them before. You haven't, they have seen us on Facebook and they came, beautiful couple, nice people. Not a lot, they had a lot of knowledge about the body.
Yes.
A lot. They were
Physical therapists?
Physical
Yes.
therapists. I could see that they knew how the bodies function. So it was super cool. We had other people from Mosjøen, and they all came from the program, and everybody contribute. And we started on Friday, and we had a nice introduction and a nice beginning on Friday. It lasted for like 2-3 hours.
Yes.
And yeah, it was nice. And we went home, all of us, to the places we lived. the community lived at the houses of the people who are living there, like Wenche and Tom Øystein, the seven, the father of Tiril. He helped us with an apartment. So it felt really nice to come there, come home. It's my home. It's my birthplace. So very, very nice. And then Saturday. Saturday was that it started like a magical happening. Like,
Oh, the little girl,
yeah.
There was a little girl, 3 years old, a 9, and she was completely open and vulnerable and demonstrated her 9s. It was easy. You look at her and she's a 9. Of course. Look what she's doing with her arms and her body. And she had presence and held the room, and everybody was listening to her. I was even listening. I didn't understand what she was saying, but I was listening. And later people told me what she was saying. It's like, I would have laughed. So it's probably good that I didn't understand.
She was talking about her reality in life, 3 years old, how she experienced life. And it was like being in a seminar.
Yes.
And she did something that 9s are capable of doing. And one of the takeouts again is that, well, it was a beautiful experience, and we let her be in the middle of the circle, and we were. So let's give this a image. So there sits a lot of people in a big circle in a big room, and she goes in the middle of the room, and she's holding the whole room. She's holding the energy of the whole place, the whole room, and she's talking, and she's lifting out her arms and opening up her eyes, and she tells us about her experience of life.
And you have to engage her to just like do a little testing. And I never saw a child that young be engaged in the 9 life energy testing. And she's just like, oh yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
And she did it
then
so easy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the way we are doing it now. I will say in our community, this is important. What's actually we're talking about here, because I'm teaching everybody to stop directing people. Let them be natural, and you have to be able inside of yourself to be with that and have the response in your body. So when I walk over to her, she's 3 years old, I just respond in my body to her behavior through her movements, which I call micro movements. This time it was big movements, it wasn't micro movements, because she was fully out herself as a 9. And that's something that can happen if you don't think, but you're just being with that other being. And she was doing 9. She was breathing, and she was doing the same thing as everybody else, as a grown-up is doing the posture. And she was taking a deep breath in, like her whole upper body was.
Yeah.
And she liked it. And she looked at me. And then she went away again, and she continued to hold her seminar for us. So that was a big takeout. And then the workshop was on the go. And if it's okay for me to just say something else about this, I really love it when that happened, because this work, you can't get it in your body if you can't help people to see what's going on. And she helped us so we could explain what she was doing. So that's incredible helpful. Presence is incredible helpful for new people to see, and because they don't know what's going on. They don't know.
No.
It's like they have no idea about what's going on. Before you show them what's going on, and then they can see it.
And this is part of the genius of the way you teach. It's like you had an idea of what you were going to teach that day, and you just used whatever was showing up in the moment over and over again. And this little girl was an example, and said, "Everybody, look at this."
Yeah.
And at first I was thinking, well, this is taking away from what we want to do. And then I was like, no, it's not. No, it's not. This is what we want to do.
Yeah.
And Morten just flows with whatever's happening and uses what's happening as an opportunity to teach people understand life energies.
I want to honor my teacher because he was a 5, my first teacher in this work, and he was a 5, and he really wanted us to understand. But I think it was early in the I think he was the only one, and his wife was the only one who really understood what was going on. So I think there was a little bit, struggle to teach it.
Yeah.
And they even told us it's difficult for us to teach it because we don't know how to teach it yet. And that's 20 years ago.
Right.
But he also really wanted us to understand, but he wasn't, I don't know how to explain this, but maybe it was something about us. Maybe it was too early. I don't know.
There's one thing there.
Yeah.
They would say, we don't know how to teach you this because we don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And we made that mistake around asking people to hold the room on Sunday because we didn't know that they didn't know how to hold the room. But if we thought about it, we'd say, well, they weren't trained to hold the room like we were. So, some people are naturals, but very few. And so I just want to say to whoever's listening to this and is in the Lifeenergies program is if there's something you don't know that we're doing, please ask us questions. So because we don't want to have any more blind spots like that.
No, that's a big blind spot for us too. So that's perfect way, not perfect, but it's a good way to explain it, that if you don't know. So that was really a big takeout for us, for me and Paolo, and say, so we came home and we were talking about some of the our people in the community is holding a seminar on the stage, and we said when we came home, so Paolo told me, he said, but have you been teaching them how to hold a room? I said, well, I thought they knew about it. And he said, well, it doesn't look like that. and okay, so we need to be better. Yeah. We need to work on ourselves. That's what I mean. Of course I'm teaching. Everything is teaching, and everything is learning. If you want to be open to do that, I'm learning something every day from everybody. But I have to work on myself. I have to look at myself and see, maybe they don't know.
Well, no. And our teachers, when we did the leadership program, they would say, you don't give them paper. You don't do this. You don't do that. The things you don't do that will interfere with your ability to hold the room.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you give them papers, if you're going to give them something to do, it's at the very end when you don't have to hold them anymore.
Yeah.
And if you do a PowerPoint, it's like just a few words and maybe not at all, because they'll look at that and then won't look at you.
Yeah.
But, they told us all these things.
Yeah, but
which were things that a lot of people would do because that's just the way you do it in business.
And I want to clarify something because I get eager here. So remember that we had an agreement, not an agreement, but because they are in our program, we ask them, do you want to do this? Because it's experimental training. It's a method that we teach. Yeah. Say it one more time.
Experiential.
Experiential. Not experimental.
Well, it's experiential, and then every training is an experiment because it's always a little bit different, and we learn things just like things.
So haven't we done that? Haven't we been able to I will say, not showing ourselves because we're always safe, but going into the unknown, going into the unknowable. In one way, you're challenging yourself So that reminds me about the takeout about you, Marina, is you were in Mosjøen. Now we're jumping to the last day on Sunday when we were holding seminars, and you came over to me and I asked you, maybe you want to talk about it, Marina. Tell me your
Yeah, I
experience.
can tell about it because it was 2 minutes before I was going to go on the stage and introduce yourself. And I had a text about you, and you were like, okay, let me take a look at it. And I was like, okay, here it is. And it took you like 2 seconds. You take my pen and you just scrolled it away with the pen, and like, no, just throw it away. And it's not, just throw it away and talk from your soul, talk from your heart. So I was a little bit terrified. I was like, while I was walking from the place we were sitting to the stage, but at the same time, I just choose this safe place and trusted the situation I'm at it, and just I choose to open and talk from my heart, from my soul. And at the same time, it was as well easy because I believe my brain tried to understand this, but it was so amazing at the same time just to be free, just staying on the stage without thinking so much, trying to find the right words, just tell as it is and tell my experience working with you and who you are for me. And I remember it was a moment when I got so emotional, and it wasn't planned, but it was the nerve I met in myself, and which was honest, and it was just amazing experience how we can just get free and talk about what we really feel inside.
Yeah, and that's so you can't plan your emotions, or maybe an actor can do that. They plan to cry, but it's fake in a way, and then it in the beginning, and then it become real. It looks like it's real, and they're very emotional because they have been training themselves to activate their feelings so they can cry. But if you think about it, it's you can't plan your emotions.
No.
Not possible. And you can't plan how you breathe. It's not possible. You're breathing and you're feeling. You can't plan how tall you're going to be. You can try to plan it, but it's not possible. But what you can do is you can get engaged with your body in a way that it becomes free, and it speaks, and then you start to speak from your soul. You start to speak from a place inside of you, which we call your being, or we call it your life energy. It's your being that's speaking. And that always hits a nerve in other people. It's always honest. And people want honesty. So it's going to a seminar when people are presenting everything on a screen. It's sometimes it's important because it could be about numbers or about something that you need to see it to understand it. But this work is about being natural and being able to express yourself, because that's what we want. When you express yourself, we can understand that you're a two. We can also understand your energy. We can also see you. And most of all, we can enjoy you. That's the main thing. We can enjoy each other.
Yes.
Wow, that's Marina. Wow, she hits a nerve in me. You did, and I was having tears in my eyes because it wasn't any kind of ego about me or yourself. You just said, that's your experience. What's your experience? Very nice.
Very nice. Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Another takeout from this, and it has been many. I mean, with all the people who were talking on Sunday, it was Paolo, extremely nice to listen to.
Yes, that's true.
Maybe you could say something about that, where how you have developed yourself to be a really good speaker on the stage.
Well, I've gotten more in my body over time.
Mm.
I've gotten more comfortable just telling the truth about what I know. And there's something about having people around that appreciate me. And there's also something about the 9. So you are a 2 and Morten is a 3. And both of you are always taking energy from the universe and putting it out. And putting it out. And it's like just your presence while we're talking, it's just like it energizes me so that I can talk. If you were a 6 and Morten was a 5, I would not be as animated as I am. And this is morning, I'm not very animated, but I would be like, yeah, well, it was like this, and it was a good time. But because you're here, it's like my energy is different. So that's a component that the community that I understood, and people were interested in and there to learn about 9 life energies. So and my job was to talk about how it connects with trauma. And so I talked about how eventually I talked about how each number can be traumatized by their parents accidentally. And I talked about accidentally traumatizing my daughter because I didn't know what a 4 was. I didn't know who she was, and I thought she must be like me. And then if I treat her like me, wasn't good. If she's a little me, if she was a 7 and, you know, then I would have been treating her well because I would have understood it, but I didn't understand her. And so she was, you know, that's how parents are.
Mm.
And so everybody gets a little bit of trauma, you know, and some parents are very, very good parents all the way through. I got better and better as I parented. And so she didn't have much trauma from me after I understood her number and felt terrible about the prior years of not understanding her. So we, you know, I talked about that, went through the 9 and how parents can accidentally traumatize their kids. And
Cool.
yeah.
Mhm.
So takeouts. Takeouts from Sunday, amazing. Many things happened. You started on Sunday with your speech, and it's in one way set the stage for what we're doing because you're so professional. And it's easy to understand.
That was probably the best presentation I've ever done in my life.
It was.
Mm.
Next time it will be better.
It could be, definitely.
Yeah.
It will be.
Yeah.
It will be. And
you too, you went into that place where, when I asked the question, you went into a place where you were just so alive.
Yeah.
Because it was a question about something you haven't been thinking about.
Right.
So you had to go into yourself.
So that going into myself is what I do when I work with people individually.
Yes.
And we talk about things and they ask about things. It's like, so I'm in the connection and I'm in the flow, but I got in the flow with the entire group. And so evident that if you're in the flow, it's interesting and something good comes out of it.
So being awake means that you can do this in the kitchen when you make food.
Yes.
And you can do it on the stage, or you can do it with another human being, because you put everything you have into that situation, which we call ichi-go-ichi. It's like the present moment will never come again. So if you're together with the moment, it's always very, very nice. Always. So Sunday was nice, takeout, Marina, it was Paolo. And then Solveig started I'm sorry, Solveig, her project, where she was talking about the 9 different eyes and facial expression. And it was very, very nice. And she's a Life Energy 4. And then we had Cora. And the moment with Cora, the takeout with Cora was when she was sitting down and she said, I can feel myself now. It was just wonderful. It's just everybody landed in the room. The feeling of Cora, the feeling of Solveig is just amazing. They are force. And then Kjersti was on board on the stage. She is super cool. And she was super stressed. And this is what this is about. She's cool and she did it. And she didn't fail. She just got super nervous. And we all have been I have been super nervous. I told her on the stage when my mother was 50 years old and I was supposed to say something, I couldn't speak. I couldn't talk. I stood up and I couldn't say anything. I lost my voice because I was so nervous. So I just said, thank you very much in Norwegian. And I was sitting down again. And everybody was expecting me to say, so having a big speech, but I couldn't because the nervous system took over. That's something that's happened. And I jumped in and we helped her. And that's what this community is about. We're holding each other. We're holding each other capable. We're looking at each other when we're jumping out into the unknown, and we are saving each other when we need. And we did that with her, and we were sitting down, Julia, the 9 from Mosjøen, my family member, and I was sitting together with her, and that moment was transformational. Everybody can relate. Everybody has been nervous, and everybody has, they could recognize how it is to get help.
Yes.
That was a big moment. And then Mona came on board, and she's a 9, and she talked about transformation. Very, very nice. Has a big view. She has a big view of everything. And it's wonderful. And the moment with Mona was when she included Thomas in her process, where she got the feeling in her body about 9. And of course we all have been struggling with that process, and we have been working hours after hours to figure out which energy she actually is. And we figured out that, but he did the physical thing at the studio, and that was very helpful. So takeout from all of them is that in our community, we have the 9s in Mosjøen, Julia, and there is many 9s there. I'm just amazed of how many 9s. I think we typed 8, 7, 8, and we did many last time too. And we had Tone, and we have Tone is running the beautiful place that we were in Bakgården. It's so incredible. Beautiful and amazing that somebody wants to create something in a small city and say this is for the community. It's just unbelievable. And probably the best sound system ever.
Beautiful environment.
And Hans Jakob, our family member, or the brother of Marte, the 5, he was behind there and always taking care of the sound. And it's just an amazing experience. So the 9s were holding the room, and from the very beginning, so the beginning of Mosjøen was with a 9, and the end was with a 9.
And I would like to tell about my takeout as well. It is also with the 9. It was one girl. She's about 20 years old. It is a lot of takeouts, but I would like to take mine, which has made one of the most impressions on me. And to see you were pushing her in 9, and then she was pushing in 9 as well. And to see the strength in this tiny girl and to see her recognize and suddenly understand, or maybe it was gradually, how strong she is, and to see it in her eyes, it was incredible.
Even she could
For me,
realize.
it was really,
right?
yes. And I remember very much the words she said on Sunday when we were sitting in a circle as well, at the end of in the Bogorn, at the end. And I remember her words, she told us, I felt safe to be with you guys. For me, it was a moment that really like touched my soul. And again, about the work we all are doing to coming to Mosjøen, keep coming and share our energy. Like Paolo told me as well, just our presence is already a really great start.
Yeah, and you see the result of our work by using the natural steps. Creating a good atmosphere makes you able to feel, makes you able to engage, make you able to be inspired, makes you able to feel love, makes you able to flourish, makes you able to go into your essence, makes you able to understand, makes you able to transform. That's the 9 steps.
Amazing.
Mm.
And you know what, guys? I believe it's already went an hour, and I personally planned always an advertisement. So it was a plan to do it one at one time in the middle and then one at the end. But don't worry, I will take 2 at once. So my first advertisement. It's an advertisement. It's also a really great advice for you guys who are listening us now. And I actually just want to share with you a great way to start your day. What we are doing from Monday till Friday is we are sitting at Zoom and we meditate. It's our morning meditations. We are sitting and then we are standing in our different positions from 1 to 9. And then we have movement training as well, once in a week. So if you want to just do, okay, let's give it a chance and I would try it. So just write me an email. You will see under the text in the podcast, my email address. So take a contact. You can try it for a week. I recommend you just try it at least for a week, and it will really help you to have a great start of the day. And when you have this as a background, I have one big, like really great candy for you. I call it now candy because it's our trip to Italy. And people in Mosjøen who heard it, they were like, I would love to come with you. And I also would like to come with you guys to Italy. And next year, we are going to there on the 3rd of May, and we'll be there to the 10th of May. And it is a fulfillment retreat. It is the retreat, and I've heard Morten saying it will be maybe the last one we are doing in abroad. So you have to make sure that you take in with you and you're visiting with us this stunning Piedmont region, where we go and diving into alchemy of life. And while enjoying its serene beauty. So this retreat is designed for deep inner transformation. The whole our community, I believe, will be there. People from Mosjøen will be there, and people from USA will be there. So it's your chance to really re-engage with us and to transform your life.
Very nice.
Wow.
It
I
was
will go.
good.
I'm
It's very cool. So guys, before I have my fun questions, do you have something more to tell about yes, please. Thank you.
I want to say something. So seeing Unn and Thomas working as they do, because they have been in this for years, is our proof that it's really working.
Mm.
Seeing the next generation learning 10 times faster. You guys are learning 10 times faster as we did. And it's just amazing to see how much you pick up.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see the nines like Julia and Mona, they are present in this work, so I can talk about them. It's just wonderful to see their presence holding the space. It's kind of holding the space, and I'm including that 3 years old little mermaid that were there and teach us this. And then we have Tiril and Thomas, and they are in, you know, it's the young Tiril, it's the not old, but he's older, holding that eightness in their body. It's super powerful to watch. We have Paolo as a 7. We have Tom Øystein, who is a 7, and we had a couple of more. But Tom Øystein, he's helping us from a place with apartment. He's the father of Tir. It's just super cool to see how helpful he is with everything. And he told me one time, he said, "You're helping me, so I'm helping you." That's what he said. And that's what I see many, many 7s is about. They're about, you know, being there, and in some way they're helping us to understand, to get it easier. The 6s, I just have to say this with Guide Louise, who she's back, or she was back, or
she came to the event.
She came to the event, have been in this training, and she has so much to learn us about 6, because she is a present 6.
Yeah, she teaches us well.
She teaches us well about 6, and this is so cool. And there was, of course, other 6s, but I can say it because she's part of the community. With 5s, Marta, the change in Marta, the 5 that came,
Right.
I mean, wow.
Very strong.
They're holding the big picture, asking questions that we haven't been thinking about. Amazing. We have the 4s in our community, Wenche and Solveig and Cora. And those 3 together is the perfect example of what 4 is about. They're just deep. They're going deep, and they're helping us to go deep. We are getting deeper and deeper and deeper into our feelings, and we can feel our harmony because they are here. And the 3s, there is Tova, and it's me, and hopefully we are joyful, and we look, hopefully we look happy and focused.
Yeah.
And I think we are. And there was a couple of more coming in.
Yeah.
I like the last 3 that came that you spot. Super cool.
Oh,
yeah.
And 1-3 wants to reach out to me. So
He wants to reach out.
A
2
woman,
3s came, and
an
it's super
educator.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to see how they lighten up the room.
Yeah.
And then we have the 2s. We have Un, of course. We have you, Marina, of course. We have 2s that's coming in, and they engage and make it. It makes us move. It makes us. Nobody's forgotten.
Manuela is 2s.
Oh, don't forget Manuela. Manuela is super cool. Don't forget Manuela. Manuela's done work with herself, and I think the thing that she has done with the pilgrim, I don't know, I will say the pilgrim travel. She has been out in the nature with her dogs for a long time, traveling around. She's very different. She's very different.
Yeah.
And then we have the ones, we have Jonna, we have Toroga, and we have lovely, beautiful. And all of these people were together holding the community. So we all could do what we did. That's what I wanted to say. And nobody's forgotten. If somebody is forgotten, I'm sorry. I don't think so. Anybody? Amazing. That's the big takeout, is the community. And last thing I want to say before you move on, Marina.
And I have to go.
And you have to go, and she has to go, and we will go. And is the steak, the moose steak that The elk steak.
Oh, the elk steak.
The elk steak, that's
Toroga.
Roga and Marta. We got it from them, and they were preparing it through the night, and we're cutting it up at 7 o'clock, and we put it together, and packed it together, and we opened it on the train.
Yes.
And we were eating it like it was a sandwich, only the
Yeah.
steak. And it was a remarkable experience.
It was delicious, and I can say that as a vegan, it was very good.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to end this podcast with that story, because this is what Italy is about. It's about eating.
Good food
Yes,
in a
and
lovely place,
yes, and
very safe with
Yes, and-
amazing people.
you get the taste from that area through that elk.
That's what you wanted, yeah.
That's what I wanted to say. So you get that atmosphere from that area when you eat the food that have been walking around their houses.
Amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You think that was the elk that was in the backyard in January here?
I think that's the elk that was.
And it went all the way up north to Toroga, and then someone took it.
Well, me and Toroga, we were looking at an elk together with Leon, my son,
Mhm.
and it could be that one.
Yes. Why not?
Why not? Could have been.
Okay, guys, I have to ask you about the pizza, okay? And now I believe I have really great questions, so use your creativity a lot. So to both of you, if pizza were called 9 life energies, what kind of toppings do you think it would have?
Olives, mushrooms, garlic, peppers, pickles, peanut butter, pineapple, steak, chicken, jalapenos.
That's a 7 pizza.
Yeah, I heard it.
Separate pizzas. They would be separate.
That's a 7 pizza.
Oh, we'll just put them all on.
You put everything on.
In fact, just a minute.
Yeah. That
Where are you going? I have to tell to listeners you went to the fridge now.
that's
and
your
you picked
pizza.
up
You
the
still
green
have.
bag.
It's taking out the pizza from the fridge. What's on the pizza?
This is cheese. This is the white pizza without the tomato.
Yeah, and
It's a little
putting out the
frozen
pizza.
and frosty, but we put some in the freezer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you can see here is that it's white pizza. It's white pizza. It's going faster and faster
And
now.
here's some and red still frozen together.
Oh my God, yes.
Olives and red onions. Oh, this had sausage and black olives. What else do I see? Cheese.
So what's your favorite pizza?
Well, so at home,
Mhm.
there's a restaurant. It's called Soma,
So-
and they make very good pizza. And I go in there and I say, please, no mozzarella. I want the red sauce. I want the vegetables on it and just a tiny bit of Parmesan. And they put so many vegetables. There's no pizza I've ever had that has
Oh, that's
more
so good.
vegetables on it
Mm.
than this. And the flavor, it's just like, I love it.
Cool.
And they make crust just like Morten does.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
What about you, Morten?
I've been talking about pizza with you. I think this is 3rd or 4th time now, Marina. And I'm going to do something. I'm going to talk about the future now.
Okay.
So the future
I'll be
pizza.
right back. Keep
You
going.
will be right back again. Yes. So the future pizza for me, Marina, is the future pizza now is to go back to my very beginning when we made pizza and do a homemade pizza with not meatballs, but it's grained meat,
Mhm.
a lot of onions, a little bit garlic. We used tomato puree
Mhm.
and we put it in water, and oregano and mushrooms. And the bread is going to be very thick, like pan pizza from USA. And a lot of cheese, and I'm going to cook it in the oven for 1 hour. So I know it's, because it gets so soggy when you put so much on it.
Mm.
And that's start, and I'm going to do something really crazy. That this is like saying words you shouldn't say in the church, but I'm going to put ananas on the pizza.
Oh my God, you said it.
Yeah, I said it. Just for fun.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about, is it legal to have ananas or not on the pizza? And I just want to try it one.
What was the last thing you put on?
I'm going to do the old way pizza that we did, I think 30, 40 years ago when we started with grain meat and ananas.
There you go.
There you go. And you, Marina?
You know, when you started to talk about ananas and to start about to do something different, like, you know, so I believe I would like to have some pizza which is really sweet, you know. So let's taste something new, like with maybe chocolate and banana on the topping at the end. So why not?
Yeah, but that could be
Let's
cool.
get
It's a dessert
crazy with pizza.
Oh, and instead of using regular pizza dough, you would use cake.
Cake, yeah.
And you bake it in your oven.
Yeah.
So it's like pizza, but like cake dough instead of pizza dough.
Yeah.
And then we could put strawberries and whipped cream on it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay.
Yes, thank you so much, Paolo and Morten. And I
You're
wish
welcome.
you a pleasant flight back home. Morten will drive you soon to the airport, isn't it?
Yeah, he's starting to trip a little bit on his feet here because we are going to the airport, but we still have time. We're going to eat some breakfast, have a coffee. He doesn't drink coffee. I still drink coffee. It's not still. I will continue to drink coffee. And again, thank you to the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Without the community, it's not fun. And this is fun.
No, it's fun. Thank you
And
so
you're
much.
super cool.
Yes.
You're good.
Thank you.
You're good.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Tusen tack. Hada.
Bye.
Bye.